In the 51 flood, we lived in the Lyman School District on North Monroe, and the flood was to the top of our windows. And it was during the summer, so we did not go to school. But before school could start, my dad was on the Lyman School Board, and they had to clean out the mud, of our house, and his business had been flooded, so he had a lot of work to get ready for school to start. And in the administration building, my husband helped clean out mud that was in the gymnasium. East Enola was a new building, and he worked then to help clean out the flood mud from that.
Okay. What was it like in the first high school building?
The first high school building is now the administration building, and the gym was the basement area, a small little area, and there were concrete kind of risers. The board meeting is in what was the old stage and auditorium, and where our historical museum is were classrooms. And Chuck Logan's office was at the end of the hall, and the part that is the elevator now and all that has been built on. So it was really a small structure. We helped that. In '54, in October, I was a sophomore, and I was assigned a teacher, and we literally carried down the road to what is Logan Elementary, whatever teacher we were assigned to, her classroom. And being a farm community, the farm boys brought trucks and moved the big heavy stuff. And the big heavy safe is up in the corner of the historical museum. 5 hours in study hall if you chose to take study hall. If you chose not, you can just take an extra elective course.
So what were your classes like?
They were the required classes, English, and everyone had to have one semester of phys ed. The other semester was health, and a math class to graduate. Then as you got to be a junior, you had to have an American history class. And the subjects were freshman general math, sophomores usually algebra, geometry, and then trigonometry. PE was required if you were physically able. The electives I took were speech. You could do a drama class, band, music, and that was in the little annex where the lodge building is right now that sits. And right where the parking lot at the administration was VOAG, vocational ag, that the boys usually took. Now and then there was a girl in it, but not very often, and there was also a woodworking class that mostly was male. 68. And we are preparing right now for our 65th class reunion this year. Chuck, at the time, we called him Chuck, was not teaching classes when, and he had a lot of, he was not strict in some senses, but in some he could make you toe the mark. But kind, and I don't think people really feared him. They skipped school, they would have to go see him. So.
Do you have any stories about the old school?
The thing that I do know is when we moved to what is now Logan Elementary, was the new high school for us, the first graduating class, 55, because we moved in October of 54. And where the parking lot of the Seaman Church was the old football field, and that's where the 55 graduation was, on that field. And they, of course, have the football field beside it now, is what was the next year was. And actually the next, in 57, when I graduated, it was in the auditorium of that building because it was threatening to rain, so then it was inside. Well, it was the football, the last year when I was there was Bernie Bierman and Dan Emmerich. And Dan Emmerich was at the school for a long time, and his claim to fame, usually when you came in as your first time that you had a class with him, he took a regular chair and jumped over it. They did not have girls basketball. Now, my mother graduated from Seaman in 1932, and she was center on the basketball team. They had a girls, but then they went through a phase, played basketball at grade school, and all the grade schools had tournaments, but they deemed it was too stressful for girls for a while. So they unified the district, and they unified the district about 64, I believe.
What kind of club? Did they have any clubs?
Yes,
what kind of
they
clubs
did.
They have?
White Teens was one, Pep Club, Science Club, Art Club, I was trying to think, FHA, Future Homemakers, and FFA for guys. I was trying to think. I think I joined every club I could because you had it usually during activity period. And it was not usually an after school because many of the students rode buses. My granddad was on the board, Howard Jackson. My mother graduated in 1932. The first graduating